So 14 common problems when selling heirs property in the Philippines. So this is just a short presentation. After that, we can do Q&A. So in every professional brokers like us and salesperson in Philippines setting up, talagang challenging sa atin magbenta ng mga inherited properties because of some legal issues, taxes, or family issues, no? Marami pa iba dyan. So we as a broker, we need to identify this problem. Kasi pag we don't identify it, diretso-diretso tayo, nag-effort na tayo, nagpagod na tayo, latter part, may problem, no? So it will also affect the integrity of us being the seller. Either you're listing broker or you're a buyer side broker. So let's discuss, isa-isahin natin yung mga common problem, no? Para mapag-usapan natin. So problem number 1, very common, yung estate is not yet settled. So gustong ibenta ng mga anak, kaso hindi pa nila nabayaran yung estate tax. So dapat magkaroon tayo ng extrajudicial settlement of the taxes, no? So advice natin sa mga kasamahan natin is to advise the heirs, yung mga nagbenta, to settle the estate tax before they sell the property. Pero may mga kasunod dito. Some, alam namin meron kaming babayaran, but the problem is wala kaming pera. We don't have enough money. Or halimbawa, there's a scenario I have 7 siblings sila. They wanted to sell the property. Alam nila na unsettled yung estate tax nila. So they just want na magkaroon ng buyer na interested to buy but willing magbigay ng down payment para pang settle muna sa estate tax. So what we did, pinakompute muna namin yung possible estate tax cost na babayaran ng seller. At least, nung malaman namin it will cost almost 3 million and then the property we're selling is around 25 million. So kasama sa diskarte or terms condition when we sell property is there must be the buyer must be transparent tayo, no? Sabihin natin sa buyer na mayroong unsettled state tax but they're all willing to sell. So the terms condition is pag nagkasundo kayo, magkaroon ng down payment around 3 million para pangbayad muna sa state tax. Pag lumabas na yung e-car, tsaka na diretso ng extrajudicial settlements with sell. So then, it become a successful sales. Okay? So that's our problem number 1. Let's go to problem number 2. Common problem, unpaid state tax pa rin, no? So, ano ba yung pinagkaiba kanina, no? Extrajudicial. Okay, pare-pareho lang to, no? So, unpaid state tax. So, remain unpaid, preventing issuance. So, dito, parang napagsabay ko na yung solution ng 1 and 2, no? So, coordinate to compute state tax. So, may mga requirements dito na you need to get the registered owner, kailan namatay, death certificate. So, mapakompute natin yung state tax. Of course, meron yung mga surcharges, penalty, at least alam ng seller magkano para either pwede nilang bayaran in advance para mas mabilis ang transaction, may e-card na sila for the estate tax, or pwede din na sabay na natin sa pagbenta with a condition na ang buyer willing magbigay ng advance down payment pang bayad, pang settle ng estate tax. Number 3, very common, no? Missing heirs. So ano itong missing heirs is the problem heirs cannot be located or contacted. So all heirs must be identified before a valid sales can be proceed. So very very important ito, no? Nagkaroon tayo ng scenario na sadyang hindi dineclared yung dalawang kapatid. Sadyang hindi dineclared yung dalawang kapatid. So, mahirap, no? We don't know na may anak pala sila sa labas, mga ganon. So, how to address talaga is we need to make sure. So, there are some legal issues dito. I think I remember one transaction we have na nasa, ano ba yan? registered owner is the great-great-grandparents. So nasa great-great-grandparents. So yung mga kadil ko is fourth level na, no? So super dami. So napagkasunduan ng lawyer on both party na magkaroon ng court declaration of heirs. I'm not a legal, by the way, ha. Hindi ako lawyer, but based on my experience lang itong mga sinishare ko sa inyo. Kasi sa super dami, to avoid na biglang may maglabasan na heirs na hindi sila nakaperma, so nagkasundo yung dalawa. I'm not sure if this is the right term, para nagkaroon ng court declaration of heirs. So publication, nanawagan, everything, nung mag-declare na ang court na ito yung legal heirs, sa dami nila, sinunod yung parang nag-appoint ng administratorship on the property of XYZ para si appointed Juan de la Cruz, siya yung authorized administrator to sell, to sign, or related to the selling of property, no? So, at least kagandahan dun, it's appointed by the court para play safe lahat. So, this is my experience in Talisay City, Cebu property. Both lawyer ang nagkasundo noon na yun ang gagawing approach. Okay? I'm just sharing you, but very important talaga na somehow will we know na tatlo lang. What if may anak sa labas? What if 5 ang anak? So part of our due diligence as a broker is magmarites tayo, no? So magmarites tayo, meaning we go back to the site where the property is, magtanong tayo sa mga, if the seller is, if more or less yung registered owner, tingin natin mga 70s na namatay, tanong-tanong natin yung mga matatanda sa kapitbahay. Boss, alam niyo ba yung si Juan de la Cruz Sr.? Ilan ba yung anak niya? So, parang tanong-tanong tayo kapitbahay sa mga old kapitan, no, para baka malaman lang natin doon na 5 pala. Then they just declared 3. Very important talaga 'yan. Okay? And mayroon din kaming transaction one time na nagkaroon ng agreement, MOU, na nagkaroon kami ng retention para lang matapos yung Rule 74 na 24 months. So there's one transaction, or I think I have two transaction nagkaroon ng retention. So after the 24 months, nung napakancel yung Rule 74, saka na nagbayad ng balance yung retention. Okay, let's go to item number 4. Heirs disagreed on selling. Problem, some heirs want to sell and other want to keep the property. So very challenging, no? Very challenging ito. There is a property dito sa malapit sa Chongwa, Cebu. 300 plus square meter lang naman to, but the frontage is 15 meters. Again, the frontage is 15 meters by more or less 300 plus. So ang lalim siguro doon mga nasa 20 to 25. Ang ginawa, hindi nagkasundo talaga, ayaw ibenta. So, napakiusapan. So, we as a broker, we can act as a mediator, facilitator, no? So, sabi natin na among the siblings, out of 5, isa ayaw magbenta. Na ikaw na ayaw magbenta, pwede na ano siya sa extreme left. Yung nag-apat na magbenta, nasa extreme right, sunod-sunod, para hindi parang pangit tignan yung pag-subdivide ng property. So, napakiusapan naman kasi kung hindi sila magkasundo ng extrajudicial way, magkaroon ng legal mediation. Gagastos pa ang pamilya, magkaroon pa ng away, no? So, minsan naman, there's a transaction na super, paano ba yun? In 7 naman itong pamilya na to. Yung isa ayaw magbenta, pero gusto niyang bumili doon sa mga site sa ibang kapatid na share. Pero mura naman siya masyadong bumili. Gusto niya mura lang. Hanggang sa nakakonvensyon ng 2 kapatid. So, 3 out of 7 na yung share niya. Then nag-agawan sila sa pwesto. Kuha natin. So, nag-agawan sila sa pwesto. hanggang sa hindi talaga na-settle, it dragged to the case, nagiging legal mediated. So, umabot sa korte. I think, ilang taon na ba? Parang 3 to 4 years na, no? So, it takes 3 to 4 years, tagal, na hostage yung property because umabot sa legal yung kaso for subdivision and everything. So, kung pwede talaga, ma-explain natin sa siblings na pag dumating naman sa court, ganun din. The court will send, the judge will advise all plaintiff dependent to get a commissioners like the surveyor to do survey, and then kayong na ayaw magbenta dito, kayo magkatabi, kayong magbenta, magkatabi. Kasi kung hindi magkasundo, what comes out, iraraffle. So what it ignararaffle? Pangit tignan, yung ikaw punta sa likod, yung isa punta sa harapan. So dapat magkasundo para wala ng away, wala ng extra gasto. So if we can help if you can contact, we broker must have a team with us, part of our team, which is a lawyer, to help explain to the siblings, to the sellers, no? Of course, there's an extra fee for facilitating that one, no? Let your team lawyer handle that one with your help. Kayo na bahala mag-usap whatever you're sharing or sa PF. Let's go to item number 5. Okay, yung sabihin na lang natin ulit tayo, no? Out of 7, tatlo na sa abroad. Okay, ito na lang, actual case ko na lang. Out of 5, tatlo na sa abroad. 4 sana yun kasi umuwi yung isa. So, 3 na lang yung nasa US. So, ang nangyari noon is upon closing the deal, umuwi yung isa pang bunso. Siya, bitbit niya yung consularized or apostilled SPA sa dalawang kapatid. So, okay yung consularized because you can validate that one with our Department of Foreign Affairs certified. Pero yung apostle mahirap i-validate, no? So, what we did is, ito experience naman, share ko sa inyo, nagkaroon tayo ng online meeting validation. When you talk about online meeting validation, just like what we are doing now, nagkaroon ng meeting, purpose, agenda, together with the seller group, buyer group, together with their broker, and together with the legal. This Zoom meeting, this online meeting purpose is to validate all the discussion, all the terms and condition, the price, the taxes, the terms, the pagkasunduan, and to validate the documents and to validate the SPA. Principal na ikaw ang pumirma. So please kindly introduce yourself. Please kindly show us some kind of legal valid IDs or like a passport or driver's license. So lapit sa camera. This kasi pinaalam natin this is part of validation, no? And then the attorney in fact recognized mo ba, Mr. Principal, itong cousin mo? So pina-recognize din, and then the supporting ID, no? So somehow it is help just to validate kasi marami na ring mga scam, no? Identity thief. So tulong-tulong. Then meron pa kaming isang transaction na nagbayaran na kami sa bangko with a small meeting room accommodated by the bank. Is during the signing, nandoon yung both party lawyer, nandoon yung attorney in fact of the principal kasi ang principal nasa saan ba yun? Parang Dubai at that time. So we schedule a time na free yung principal kasi kasama sila to witness the actual deed of sale assigning via Zoom. So yung buyer side ko na we also do documentation during signing. Nag-video kami, nag-photo kami. On that video taken, nag-sign yung attorney in fact. Taken din also na nakita on the widescreen sa laptop na nanood yung mag-asawa. Kasi yung pamangkin lang nila sa Cebu, ang attorney in fact nila. So it's all to support, just to support lang. So this is mga kanya-kanyang diskarte ng mga lawyers, tsaka brokers. So we brokers, we need to team up with our lawyers. So dapat meron tayong power team, tawag natin, no? Meron power team natin, nandyan yung lawyer, nandyan yung accountant, nandyan yung geodetic surveyor, tsaka nandyan yung appraiser. Kasi ito yung mga palagi nating tinatawag in any transaction of a broker, no? Minsan talagang madaanan natin yung service nila. So later, I'll show you more. So let's go to this one naman, minor. So kasama sa mga years are minor pa. So magkaroon ng, you need to consult your power team lawyer for our guardianship or court authorization, no? So we cannot do it as a broker. Let's not do it. Broker, please don't be an MA, no? MA murag abogado or parang abogado, no? We need to partner with lawyer to make everything legal and black and white to help us do the legal documentation. So madali lang ito, no, mga minor. So they must have just a guardianship, no? So our friends lawyers, our team lawyer will help facilitate the transaction. So usually ginagawa ko dito kasi syempre may bayad ang lawyer. So I asked the seller, since minor po yung ibang mga years dito, meron po ba kayong lawyer to handle the documentation for the legal side? Kung wala sila, can I recommend you a friend of mine, lawyer? Kayo na po mag-usap sa PF. So it's not pakyawan, ha? It's not pakyawan. There must be a separate PF for that. Number 7, title still under the deceased owner. The title has not been transferred to the heirs. Explain the estate settlement and the title transfer process. Which is very common naman yan, no? Parents namatay, 5 anak, and then they want to sell it, hindi pa na-transfer sa kanila, which is very common. Mag-extrajudicial settlement sila with sale kung gusto nila ibenta diretso. Kung hindi pa nila nabayaran ang state, magkaroon lang ng pre-computation para alam natin more or less. Kasi tumatakbo naman yung mga tax, mga penalty, no? So, more or less, dapat alam lang natin magkano para when we sell it, condition ng seller, some hindi pa nalipat. Yes, check. Pangalawa, namatay ganitong taon. Si Papa, ganitong taon si Mama. So pre-computed natin yung estate tax settlement nila. Next, when we start addressing na sa price, para ayaw mag-away, okay, later discuss naman natin yung pricing. We address the price, we address the commission, we address the other taxes. We start marketing with all their ATS atin, no? So we need to be open to the seller o to the buyer na ito yung condition. So magkaroon na naman ng understanding magkano initial down payment para bago mag-full payment pag nandun na yung car for the estate settlement, estate tax. Okay, family dispute, very common. Daming cause ng pinag-awayan, no? Personal conflict among siblings or relatives that can cause real delay of the transaction. So, broker tips, remain neutral. Let's focus as a facilitator, discussion, and be objectives palagi, no? Wag magiging subjective. So, common problem number 1 is hindi nagkasundo sa magkano ang presyo. Kasi puro nakarinig dito kay Marites, nakarinig dito kay Tulits, so daming chismis na ganito yung presyo. Solution dyan, very simple. Hire a valuator, a licensed appraiser, offer the service of a licensed appraiser to come up with a professional valuation on the property na magiging reference ng pamilya. Okay? Minsan hindi nagkasundo sa talagang may away pamilya lang, no? So, conflict. Pero as long common naman, kung ito lang talaga address, ano bang pinag-awayan? Hindi nagkasundo sa presyo. Pangalawa, ano ba? Ibang other scenario naman is ayaw magbenta. So napag-usapan na natin yan, no? Kung ayaw magbenta, sino yung ayaw magbenta? Sino yung magbenta? Pwede ba can we come up with a subdivision, then pili na lang kayong ayaw magbenta in one side, kayo magbenta in one side para we can sell the property, no? So with the help naman ng licensed geodetic surveyor. So again, we broker, we need to be on the neutral side, very objective kung ano, address the problem, and we provide suggested solution on the problem. So common problem na pag-usapan na dyan, may mga personal awayan lang. Ito, actual case naman na actual experience ko naman sa transaction ko sa Mandawi. They're all selling the property. 5 sila magkapatid. Kaso lang, hindi na perform properly due diligence nung listing broker na yung isa palang kapatid ayaw piperma pag hindi na ibalik sa kanya yung nagastos niyang pagtayo ng warehouse. Kasi the properties in the industrial area, 10 years ago, nagtayo siya ng warehouse that cost 20 million. And then, ngayon, kung ibebenta na, gusto lang naman ng kapatid na ito na maibalik yung 20 million niya. So, they want to have that agreement. Magkanong sales proceed, maibalik 20 million. Ang opinion naman ng mga ibang kapatid, karamihan, is you get already your 20 million in the form of rentals. As sabi naman ng isang kapatid, yung rentals is all dividend. You get your dividend, I get my dividend. So, I need to recover again my 20 million puhunan. So, yun lang hindi nagkasunduan. Hanggang ngayon, I suppose my client supposed to buy that property 7 years ago before pandemic. Hanggang ngayon, ang pagkaalam ko lang, hawak na ng lawyer, hindi pa rin naibenta ang property due to that big problem, misunderstanding ng magkapatid. 9. Unpaid real property taxes. So, unpaid real property taxes, very simple lang naman to. Years of unpaid, pa-compute lang natin sa assessor, no? So, secure updated tax clearance, malaman natin yan. So, usually, if merong mga siblings nagpapabenta, part of our due diligence as a listing broker is we ask the latest certified copies of the title, tax decks, tax clearance, and court clearance. Para malaman natin kung may problema, may mga annotations o walang tax clearance, at least malaman natin na may hindi pa nabayaran. So, sila mismo malaman nila. That's one way of asking, no, na checking also the properties, pati na yung court clearance. So, pag hindi nila nakuha, then we as a broker, kasama sa on top of our ATS, hingi tayo ng special power of attorney just to secure all those I mentioned earlier, mga certified copies. Sabihin natin that before we sell, we need to perform our due diligence. We need to check all those things, no? Okay. Incomplete documents. Yung heirs do not have copies of key documents such as the title or tax declaration. So broker access in securing certified copies from the RD and other. So madali lang yan ng mga tax deck, assessor lang yan. Ang problema pag nawala yung title. So we experience na nawala ang title. We experience also napunit yung title, kinain ng daga or nabasa, parang hindi na readable. So yung mga napunit or mga nabasa na mga title, bago kami mag-transact, pinasilip namin yan sa RD kung tinatanggap pa nila yung that owner certified copy, na that owner's duplication copy. Kasi minsan, we have experience na yung napunit due to nabasa din napunit. Sinabi ng RD, nag-request sila na magpa-reconstitute, maghingi ng bago due to that damage of title na. So, ganun lang yun. Minsan nawala ang title, so magpa-reconstitute. Then pag may damage, pag hindi na tinanggap ng RD, mag-advise din sila kung kailangan na maghingi ng bagong owner's duplicate copy. Okay, so yung other naman is kuha talaga tayo ulit ng certified true copies ng title, tax deck, tax clearance, court clearance para pati yung siblings alam nila the latest status ng property. Again, nagkaroon na kami ng actual scenario na naglagay kami ng earnest money on January. Then we about to close the deal first week of April. February, March is our due diligence time. Good thing, kumuha kami ng another round of latest certified copy last week of March before magbayaran first week of April. And then, lumabas doon, may nag-annotate on the month of March. Good thing, utang lang, no? So, settled naman yun. So, what is important here na kung pwede a week before magbayaran, kuha ulit tayo ng latest certified true copies. Okay, number 11, informal occupants or informal settlers on the property. Properties occupied by informal settlers or relatives. So, clarify occupant status before marketing the property. Pati tayo, no? So, we need to interview properly the sellers and make ocular inspection on the property. If there are houses, we need to identify, are these informal settlers or are these mga relatives or what status, no? So meron na ba silang pinag-usapan? So we have usually inano namin yan, we don't pay full. Ginawa naming terms ang bayad namin hanggang sa ma-turnover ang property na clean. Meron naman kaming binili na property as is where is my informal settlers, pero we ask for a discount for the cost of in-estimate namin yung cost plus for the cost of removal of the informal settlers. So, yun lang, no? Boundary or survey issue. So, siblings are inherited, minsan hindi na umuwi, na inherit na lang nila, hindi nila alam. So, it happened to one of our transaction in Southern Cebu. So when we buy the property, dati puro tax deck sa probinsya. The mother title is tax deck. Nung nabili ng pinsan nila, yung kabila, saka yung sa gitna, namana ng mga anak. And then the mga anak now wanted to sell that one. Good thing na lang yung lupa ng ito napa-title. So naging superior kasi siya yung nakapa-title ng una. So yung mga sa pinsan niya na nabili galing pa sa lulo nila, na dati tax deck lang, hindi na pa-title. So when we did our relocation survey, that's part of the due diligence namin when we buy that property, lumabas yung bahay ng pinsan nila, naka-encroach over sa one-third of the house nasa loob ng property line doon sa seller namin. So pina-resolve namin yung problema in advance. Nagkaaway pa yung magpinsan kasi the house been there for 40 years but ngayon lang parang negligence din ng seller, no, kasi nasa abroad din nga sila. So umabot pa kami sa barangay. Nag-come up pa ng 2 joint survey of both party. So ganun, no, pero naayos naman sa barangay. Kasi pag hindi naayos sa barangay level, mukha natin sa kanila, picture out natin sa kanila na pag hindi natin naayos dito, umabot tayo sa korte, ganito din lang man ang mangyayari, no? Both party will get their commissioner like a surveyor for a joint survey para the judge will see and decide. So why wait for the judge if the punong barangay can be our judge? Magkaroon tayo ng joint survey. So bago lang tayo magkaroon ng joint survey ulit, pwede ba magkasundo tayo dito na whatever the outcome of this joint survey, we honor. So yun lang, no? Dahil nagka-agree naman. So existing mortgage or liens, madali. Lalo na pag ang liens mortgage annotation is from the bank or from the lending institution. So hindi kami takot bumili as long as mabayaran lang, no? So bayaran muna namin yung mga utang. Maliban lang pag yung liens, mga away, claims of ownership, iba dyan, no? Or kaso talaga. So, pero pag utang lang talaga, walang problema. it can be solved by money. So advance down payment, advance bayad lang yan. So we need to verify. Kaya tayo, always, as a listing broker, let's always ask from the seller documents. Minsan, ang binibigay ng seller documents is just scan copy or Xerox. So, sanayin na natin na humingi ng mga certified copy. Pag walang certified copy, sabihin natin sa kanila na, can you authorize me to get certified copy? So, I need to ask for SPA. Pag ayaw mo, kailangan kayong gagawa kasi kailangan talaga yan bago natin ibenta. Doon natin malalaman if our documents, our titles are clean, walang mga annotation. Sabihin nila malinis ang document namin, ito, walang annotation. Kasi hindi nila alam na ang annotation, hindi isusulat sa owner's duplicate copy. Doon yon sa RD na kopya. So we just need to explain to them properly para maintindihan ng mga property owner. Lack of authority to sell. Careful tayo mga broker ha. Only one heir signed the listing agreement without the other authorities. So we must require authority to sell ETS signed by all heirs or a valid SPA. So halimbawa ako mismo nagkaroon ako ng experience. Ito naman tatlo lang naman sila magkapatid, but I talked to the panganay, and the panganay is a lay ministers, presidente ng association namin, and typical na negosyante, I highly respected. Kaso lang, yung pinirma ng panganay na kasunduan na commission natin, nung na-close deal na natin, yung dalawang kapatid did not honor. And they negotiated ulit yung commission natin. Why? Because they are not authorizing the other eldest to agree and to, kumbaga, hindi nila napag-usapan yung agreed commission. So, kaya careful tayo kung yung pumirma na siblings out of 5, yung pumirma isa, dapat yung isa na pumirma, meron siyang SPA of all other siblings na he or she is authorized to be the, kumbaga, administrator or special act as a attorney in fact of all other siblings, and to her, and she authorized to get services of a broker, no? Kasi honestly, nangyari yan. May case pa dito sa Balamban, Cebu. I think I shared it before, no? Na out of, example lang to, out of 1 million commission, hindi binagyan ng 1 million. Ang binigay doon sa ahente, 200,000 lang. Finder's fee lang daw. Yun ang SPA. No, hindi SPA yun ang attorney in fact. Ayun. No, sorry. Stand corrected. ATS, authority to sell, was issued to that salesperson by one of the siblings. Nung malaman ng brother niya na itong ahente lang pala, hindi licensed broker, sabi niya, why you give commission? Finder's fee lang kasi hindi naman yan ano. So marunong din yung kapatid, no? So nagsumbong sa atin yung ahente, hindi ko kilala, na nabasa lang yung mga vlog natin. Humingi siya ng tulong na maghabol, mag-file sa barangay. Sabi ko, anong claim mo? To collect the commission kasi meron siyang ATS notaryado daw. Sabi ko, in the absence of a broker on record dyan, walang broker makakatulong sa'yo para mag-file ng kaso. Ikaw lang. So ikaw naman, you're not authorized kasi if you file kaso to claim commission for practice of real estate and you're not a licensed broker, baka balikan ka pa ng kaso practicing real estate. Kaya sabi ko sa karamihan na nakikinig ngayon at saka makakarinig pa, lahat ng mga enterprising people, ahente-ahente, salesperson, kahit accredited salesperson na kayo ng broker nyo, of all your transaction, dapat may broker on record. Dapat, again, may broker on record. Kasi it is only licensed broker authorized by law to collect commission. You are not authorized. In fact, you are only allowed to practice real estate with the supervision of a licensed broker. So lalo na yung walang lisensya. So may penal clause, may mga penalty yan, sum of money and or imprisonment. Kaya let's just work and collaborate. Just like bookkeeper, ang gagaling nilang maggawa ng mga financial FS. But lahat ng trabaho nila, pinapabasa nila, pinapareview nila, and signed by a licensed accountant. Lahat ng mga legal secretary, ang galing nilang magawa ng mga affidavit. Pero it is reviewed and notarized by lawyer. Isa pa, mga draftsman, no? Or mga custom secretary, custom broker. Lahat ng trabaho nila hindi tinatanggap ng government pag walang perma ng licensed custom broker or licensed architect. So sa atin, alam natin our law is not yet perfect, no? So our call here is let's just collaborate. The business is open to everybody, to all enterprising people, but hanap lang kayo ng mga hiyang or comfortable kayo na makipagtrabaho kayo sa isang licensed broker. If you're from Bohol, look for a broker in Bohol. If you're from Davao, look for a broker in Davao na hiyang kayo, kumbaga komportable kayo. Kasi kami naman, we're willing, mas komportable kami to deal with a listing broker in Davao na broker talaga, hindi yung ahente-ahente. Kasi mangyayari kami ang broker on record in both party. Baka nagkamali tayo ng due diligence in Davao, lagot ako na I'm based in Cebu. So dapat property in Davao must be due diligence by the broker in Davao as a listing broker. And I as a buyer broker, I can focus me on the buyer side. So yun lang, no? Let's collaborate. So just a little update about our, I think that's NR 14. I'm giving you an update lang doon sa amnesty tax extension. Pangatlong extension na to pag pumasa. It was filed last year. And then just a month ago, lumabas na, kasi approved na siya in Congress. So nag-file na ang Senate version. So we're working siguro baka matapos ito in 3 to 6 months. So magkaroon na tayo ng third round of estate tax amnesty extension. The good thing with this extension is aabot na hanggang December 31, 2028. So we as a broker, we can now aggressively extend our services sa mga kakilala natin na hindi pa nakapag-settled ng estate tax. So we have year 2027, year 2028 kung matapos man ito, ma-approve ito this year, no? So at saka I think it will cover from year 20, yung mga namatay na from year 2024 balik. Okay? So you can, source is recently lang ito, no? So just check na lang or Google nyo na lang. Google nyo na lang, no? Estate tax amnesty extension. Ito talagang title sa news. So key lessons to all our practitioners here. Most inherited property sales fail not because there is no buyer, but because the ownership issues were not resolved. Or minsan, yung mga heirs nag-aaway kung anong tamang presyo. So we need to verify also the heirs, confirm state settlement, check taxes and documents, and secure our authority to sell. So kung magpagod tayo to settle the estate, it is a good reason for us to bargain for exclusive listing. Again, you always bargain for exclusive listing kung magpagod ka, mag-extend ng extra service sa mga sellers because of all these problems, settlement, advice, everything, no? So, brokers who understand how to handle inherited properties can gain a major advantage in our real estate market. Iilan lang sa mga broker na strong enough, may guts to handle selling property na maraming mga sellers. Kaya dapat, if you know this trade, this portion, this market niche, there's a good money here, no? So many valuable properties remain unsold simply because no one knows how to manage the process. Okay, so maybe one of our next future topic, we discuss the step-by-step naman how to process itong mga estate settlement. So disclaimer ulit ha. So what I share to you, it's not a legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. This is just based on our years of practice, especially dealing with the property, which mga sellers are mga maraming sellers, no, maraming mga estate liquidation kumbaga. So again, this event is sponsored by our company, PHMLS, the Professional Real Estate Network of the Philippines, where broker connects, collaborates, and close deal. So that's the reason we sponsor like this, a weekly sharpening our mind, our knowledge, because we want to scale and have a standard practice of our industry. Kasi we will collaborate, we connect, and we collaborate, and we close deal. So here, PHMLS give us all power of collaboration. Every broker joining our community is an expansion of our business. So we can access, once you subscribe, you can access fellow brokers nationwide, kumbaga, co-broker with fellow broker nationwide. You can access developer listing, ROPA, foreclosed asset by the bank, rentals, resale market, investor. So for closed deal, even you can now close deal even wala kang without your own inventory, no? Kasi the moment you subscribe, downloaded lahat ng inventory ng mga subscriber natin punta sa website mo. From solo broker, you can be now a networking broker with fellow So every new broker joining the MLS community become our collaborator, our co-broker nationwide. So build the digital infrastructure for the Philippine real estate. So imagine I'm in Cebu. Pedro is in Cebu. The moment Pedro join now, real time, lahat ng existing inventory for sell property, rental leasing property, downloaded sa website ni Pedro. And Pedro can now officially co-broker with our existing 100 plus licensed broker in our community. So the sooner may broker from Cagayan Valley joining, we are now expanding our business in Cagayan Valley. Kasi pag may OFW na inquire Cagayan Valley, we can now endorse it with our co-broker based in Cagayan Valley. Or if somebody will co-broker us in Socsargin, we can now co-broker because we have now broker based in Socsargin. So every broker joining our community is a real-time expansion of all our businesses. What it costs? It's only 1,000 per month subscription fee or 12,000 per annum. I know as a broker that's nothing. It's only a token or closing incentives lang yan sa isang developer, no? So with your 1,000, it covers your IT infrastructure with MLS, marketing site, CRM, broker directory, training hub, collaboration. So hindi kasama dito yung your own domain name and SSL license, which you will buy it from GoDaddy, or we can help facilitate that one. So we charge you one-time setup fee. So once it's set up, your only monthly payment with us, recurrent, is only 1,000 per month. So if you're interested, just message us. You know my number naman, or you know my messenger. Just message me your full name that you're interested. MLS, no? Website. And our staff will contact you. We also have for this broker na wanted to have your own website for your realty office, for your internal use, for your realty office. This will not connect you with other brokers outside. It's only for your realty. So your 3,000, you will have 21 website. Your principal website of your realty.com, tsaka 20 subdomain website of your realty.com para sa mga salesperson mo. Plus 21 email. So it will help centralize. Kumbaga, we create a digital platform for your realty to attract more agents and to simplify, madaling mag-market yung mga ahente mo. So if you're interested, just let us know kasi we have a staff to do an onboarding or do 15 minutes orientation about our services. Okay, this is our upcoming, okay man na to, masterclass. Okay, for those from Cebu, I think I'm inviting you. We have our paid seminars for real estate cash flow. Kumbaga, real estate cash flow masterclass. How to make money in real estate without owning a property. During this cash flow, pag-usapan natin paano kumita ng pera na walang puhunan. Paano kumita, paano magkaroon ng mga rental properties using other people's money. Okay? How to set up your own rental properties using other people's money or leverage with the bank. Paano ba mag-hack na, would you believe, pag may cash flow ka na 100,000, you can borrow 10 million from the bank or 8 million P plus I. So pag-usapan natin yan on this part, the legal side and everything, no? So if you're interested, especially if you're from Cebu, this is ready on April 22, Wednesday, 2 p.m., 3 hours at City Sports Club, Ayala, Cebu. Okay, early bird is 1.8. How to start your own realty firm, kasi medyo challenge din sa mga broker to set up your own realty firm. Ano ba tamang business entity ko, no? Should I put up single, partnership, corporation to avoid, sabi nga nila, to avoid double withholding tax from developer to realty firm, from realty firm to agents. Paano ba yung mga common structure if I set up my own salespeople? Ano yung entry level? Ano yung growth, commission? Paano ba yung commission sharing? And marami pa. Ang basic dito is ganito. Alam nyo ba magkano ang dapat yung sales in a month para to have a break even to your operational expenses? Let's say you have a small office. It costs you 50,000 rentals, yung isang staff, utilities and others, 50 to 60,000 yan. Magkano ba kailangan mong benta para alam mo na break even ka sa OPEX expenses mo ngayon? Kasi pag hindi mo alam yung benta to break even on your expenses, you don't know kung kumita ka, anong benta kailangan para kumita ka. Okay, so pinag-usapan yan dito. So again, good evening again, everyone. That ends our 14 common problems when selling ears property in the Philippines. So I'll open the platform now for Q&A. So I hope I'm able to share you some of my experience para maiwasan nyo yung mga problema at you will learn how to handle mga state settlement, no? So if you have some question, you can type here, or you can also open your mic and chat with me. Okay, thank you, Sir Bibot. Yeah, na-experience ko yan, Sir Bibot, no? By the way, I gonna share you something with a question ni Sir Bibot dito, no? Naranasan ko to, Sir Bibot, family of four. The family of four, good thing I'm in the buyer side. The ATS was signed by one of the siblings. And then, inoffer ko sa kliyente ko kasi he's looking for a waterfront property. And hindi nagustuhan ng kliyente ko yung location. So sabi ko doon sa can we market it online? Pumayag naman yun. With the authorization, with the ATS from the listing broker, which is co-broker ko dito sa Parev Sereb. When we advertise already in our website and social media, I think it took me around more than a week lang, I get a love letter from the lawyer sa isa sa kapatid. So, yung lawyer is advised sino nag-authorize sa atin pag-market sa property, tsaka why we marketed the property, why we're selling the property, that they are not selling the property. Again, they are not selling the property. So, yun pala, nagkulang yung co-broker natin ng due diligence if all heirs, yung apat na magkapatid, are 100% selling the property. Lumabas, dalawa lang pala ang gustong magbenta. So, it was advised to remove everything in our ads kasi hindi pa sila nagkaroon ng extrajudicial settlement para paghatian which part ang ibebenta ng dalawa, which part ang i-retain ng dalawa na ayaw magbenta. So, yan. So, very important. Dapat we ask the sibling who sign na nandoon talaga yung authorization. So, with that learning, yung ATS natin, nagkaroon tayo ng isang paragraph clause na parang ano lang, this is we certify that we certify that we are 100% selling our property. We or slash paano ba sinulat? Parang kami nag-certify na kami and kasamahan kong mga kapatid, kumbaga, are 100% selling the property. Kasi minsan nag-misrepresent yung kapatid, hindi pala alam ng ibang kapatid yung decision nila na magbenta na.
Hello, Sam.
Yes, Sir Bibot.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's an eye-opener because we're just settled for one signatory for the yes.
Sir Bibot,
And,
okay, Sir Bibot. Sir Bibot,
yeah.
dili klaro, Sir Bibot.
Do you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Could you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Okay na.
Good thing about this is an eye-opener because sometimes we settle to just one signatory of the yes.
Sir Bibot, nawala ulit ka. Nawala ka ulit, Sir Bibot, no? I think the signal is not good. Oh, I heard you earlier but nawala ulit. Yes, tama ito.
Do you hear me now?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you, Sam, for this forum. This is an eye-opener because I also, guilty of that. Only setting for one signatory in the hope, in assuming that he is authorized to give the authority to them. So I think that's a new learning tonight.
Yes, sir. Actual experience yan, sir. Natakot pa nga ako kasi pinadalhan tayo ng love letter lawyer pa. Pero sanay na ako, 3 times na ako nagkaroon ng ganyang experience, sir.
Yeah. Besides, actually, remember, there is a memorandum from PR Beres. I think it's a year or 2 years ago that it is become mandatory for us to secure an authority. Not really, it does not mention authority to sell, but authorization.
Yes, sir.
From the seller to that really you're authorized to sell the property. And there's a memo to that effect.
I think that's dated year 2019. I had a copy for that.
That's a long,
ginagamit natin yan, sir, to support when we ask for an ATS. Kasi yung minsan, when we ask ATS, we attach a copy of that nga. It's mandated by law that we need to secure. Pero of course, yung iba talaga, lalo na mga kaibigan natin very close or yung mga senior in the industry na, Sam, tsaka na lang yung ATS pag may buyer ka na. So we use implied ETS. So
exactly. It's very it will be we're putting ourselves into a necessary risk of being sued because of
importante lang sa implied ETS also is yung sinabi natin, which I shared it when I visit in Davao, na habang nag-interview tayo, nag-notes tayo, then latter part sa lower ng notes, pinasulat natin, handwriting niya, yung, kumbaga, Mr. Property Owner, saan, kindly print your, kumbaga, saan namin i-address yung letter of intent to buy? Please kindly fill up this form here. So, sulat kamay niya yung pangalan, contact number, email, below kung saan ka nag-note para pag nagsabi siya na, Sam, hindi ito yung tamang presyo namin ba't mo na offer sa buyer mo 600? Our selling price is 1,000. So you can always have that, sir. Naalala mo ito, sir. Nag-notes ako, nagsulat kamay mo pa itong sa baba, di ba? Na ganon. So minsan naman, common practice natin is we talk, we chat on the social media. So I usually do it, I summarize it through email, then I send it to the property owner. Yung mga pinag-usapan natin, I summarize it. Please do final review, comment, and edit. So, summarize ko yung location, area, presyo, taxes, etc., commission. So please kindly review, freely edit, and conform me before I
Yeah.
finalize my offer to my client. So nag-reply naman yung seller kasi ni-request natin mag-comment, mag-reply. Nag-reply naman sila na yes, everything's okay. So that's implied already.
Yeah. And then besides, there's a risk also because, especially if you're selling residence, and then it appears na binibenta yung property pero hindi pala, it will defame the family as if they're in need of money when in fact they're not selling the house. It will somehow defame them, giving the impression that they're in dire need of money. So I think it's very important that we have to get the authority to sell before we sell, especially
Mhm.
residents.
Yes. Saka, by the way, bonus sa mga brokers and others listening, no? We have 57 participants tonight. This is a good business, ha? In my team here is we finance the estate settlement. So yung mga walang pangbayad, we have our group of investors. We do the estate settlement sa kanila in return of hawak namin yung title. Kumbaga parang lending, but of course with good interest, with good return of money. Tsaka exclusive na natin yung listing.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you. PNB Sam. Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions? I think we have here, Rose. What are the requirements for ETS if siblings are based outside Philippines? I think, Rose, common, no? Kung siblings is ganito na lang, Rose. The siblings, kung lahat sila based in US, kasi I have here in baseline, may natira isa dito. So they gave an ETS, attorney in fact, dito sa kapatid nila sa Cebu. So, yung kapatid nila, siya nang nagperma ng ETS sa atin. Nag-ano sila ng special power attorney, ginawa nila attorney in fact yung kapatid nila. Then yung kapatid, siya na nagperma ng ETS sa atin. Ngayon, if all the sibling seller are based in abroad and you're the broker, question, sino ba yung attorney in fact nila dito? So if ikaw broker ang gagawin lang attorney in fact, congratulations, isa na yun. So, ano na yan, SPA at ETS na yun para sa'yo. And that could be used also by a postel or red ribbon. Okay, may question dito si Sir Robin. Sir Robin, please check lang yung news, Google mo lang. It is on December 30, it is pag na-extend yung amnesty tax, it would be up to December of year 2028, Sir Robin, not 29. Okay, may question dito si Norilyn. Sir, I'm from Butuan. I have a class po. I have a client, sorry. I have a client. They are now at Australia. The title nakapangalan sa dalawang magkapatid. Ang dalawa namatay na din po. Nga nandoon din sa titulo. Then some of their children of these two women are also died na po. Ang isang sister po ay may 3 anak. Nandun lahat sa abroad. So we're talking third layer, no? Up po na to. The 2 were died na rin. Then ang isang sister naman po ay may 4 na anak. 2 died na rin. 2 buhay pa. Nandun din sa abroad lahat. May US, may London, so may Norway. Then ang client ko, which is Apo, nasa kanya ang original title. So a little bit challenge ito talaga, Miss Lynn. You start, Norlin, with the family tree. You start with the family tree, and then with that family tree, with ganito ka-complicate, I advise you, again, it is a job of a lawyer. We can help facilitate the paperwork, but you cannot finish without a lawyer. So it must be a team effort. Your lawyer can always come up with a legal documents, no? Para to make sure legal yung anak or apo nandito to sell the property. Kasi pag kulang-kulang may mali sa legal documentation, pwedeng magsampa yung mga ibang anak or apo sa labas. once nalaman nila na ibenta without their knowledge. So, secured your services with your partner legal to do the legal works. You start with the family tree. So I don't know how your legal side, but on our part na umabot ng 19 families, then daming patay, daming unsettled pa na estate. So the lawyer, yung sinabi kong Talisay transaction, Cebu, both lawyer on the seller and lawyer on the buyer, they come up with kung yung sinabi court declaration of heirs. And then after that, the court appoint administrator authorized for the liquidation of the property. So kanya-kanyang diskarte yung mga lawyer. So as the lawyer, I have another case dito na yung seller namatay with two surviving families. Kumbaga may asawa, may original wife, tsaka may second wife. So, dalawang pamilya. Tsaka yung let us say family A, I think 5, yung family B, basta marami din. So, nagkaroon ng both family nagkaroon ng extrajudicial settlement with administratorship or kumbaga para siya yung administrator, kumbaga attorney in fact ng family A tsaka attorney in fact ng family B. So dalawang pamilya, dalawang signatory on the selling of the property. So again, pagdating dito, we always partner with a lawyer. Ha? At saka hindi ito kasama sa 5% commission natin. But we can always negotiate for exclusive listing for this because we will help settle their estate para maibenta. Kasi if we don't help settle their estate, hindi maibenta ang property. It's not legally feasible to sell because ang mga pangalan nasa grandparents pa or sa parents pa na patay na. So in return of our services, we need to secure exclusive listing. Pangalawa, always partner with lawyer para yung partner lawyer mo ang magbigay ng PF pagdating doon sa legal side naman. Walang pakyawan dito na 5% lahat you will do the work. Okay, hope I share something. Okay, Hazel, instead of ATS client prepared is PA only signed by all ears. I went on but made sure content of ATS are civilians. But then a buyer broker came, gusto ATS meron. Yes, SPA is more. Yes, I encounter several, not only once na instead of ATS, special power na ang SPA na ginamit, no? That's okay. I don't know about that anong stand ng co-broker. But based on my experience, ATS or SPA notarized much powerful. Okay. Any other questions? Na-address ko na ba? Hold on. I think I forgot something. Allow me to share back. This one. By the way, I'm inviting you again in advance next week. So, nagkaroon lang tayo ng adjustment on date Wednesday because we have some developers activity last night. But our regular schedule talaga is Tuesday. So, we've been doing a lot of more on due diligence. So, negosyo muna tayo next week, no? Marketing naman tayo. So, next week, next Tuesday, our topic would be how to turn your website into a 24/7 lead engine, high converting landing page, scalable income platform for brokers. So from zero listing to daily leads or from listing to automated closing. So in this training next week, pag-usapan natin how the MLS platform helps you 24/7 in leads engine. How MLS platforms gives you personal landing page. Paano mo gamitin to as a personal landing page for all your marketing activity. How to generate income even without owning a listing. Again, without a listing, zero in your website, but paano ka magkaroon ng income. How to attract buyer automatically using your listing. Two-way profit system using our smart brokers. The 5-channel lead system plus social media, chat, email. So we're gonna discuss that next week. So next week, focus tayo on marketing naman. Okay? So again, good evening, everyone. This is your broker, Samuel Lau. So if you miss some of our topic, just always go back, visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Lau Samuel.